Welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, Italian Airwalk. And what show is this? This is the Unbound Sage, where I deliver whatever is the most important message for you to hear right now. I don't know where this message is going to come from. Maybe my psychic ability or my empathic ability, maybe from spirits that are coming through or your higher mind. But these are messages that you're meant to hear. These are probably messages that you've been overlooking because we are busy. And when spirit communicates, it can be really cryptic. So we have a million reasons to overlook these messages, but I'm going to make sure you get to hear it tonight. So I do ask that you keep an open mind and an open heart. Now, if you had a very specific question that you wanted an answer to tonight, that's not going to be this show. That's called Ask Ivy. And that's coming up in the show lineup. Okay, so just keep following me on social media to see when the next date is for that. But you can book a reading anytime on my website, Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com. Super simple self-booking system. I do work internationally, so there's going to be available time slots for everyone. And I do want to give two warnings. Okay, we are in a bit of a blizzard here, so there's a lot of wind going on. Hopefully my internet holds up. And also I'm running on about 2 hours of sleep because I had to drive out of town in this blizzard today to get my car inspected before my sticker expired. Okay, so it's been a lot of drama. I'm a little burnout. Those of you who follow me or have been watching my shows for a long time, you know I give more in-depth messages when I'm tired, so it'll work in your favor, but just bear with me, okay? If I'm stumbling over my words or if you see like a cow flying by or trees, it's 70-mile-an-hour winds, okay? So I'm actually surprised things are holding up as well as they are. Okay, let's go ahead and get into our messages today. So the first one up is Abby. Okay, and then Kim, the way we'll do it, as soon as I say the name, you could take it down and bring up the next name. Now, if you are tuning in from Instagram, Kim, my beautiful producer, is going to be posting the directions on how you can submit your payment. But if you're here on YouTube, you could do it all under one umbrella. All right, Abby, what message is coming through for you? You know, I get this image of you digging through the soil, digging through the earth, digging through the dirt, and trying to plant something. And this is symbolic of you putting your whole heart and soul, putting a lot of effort into your future, you know, your goals. I even want to say at this point in time, your relationships, and pouring yourself into your life, essentially, and saying, I'm willing to do the hard work. I'm willing to be patient. I'm willing to sit here and, you know, plant these seeds and make sure that they're cared for and they're protected by the elements, and just wait for it to grow. There's a harmony there in that energy because the universe is working with you and you are working with your higher mind, right? You know, it's where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. However, we don't have much coming up here. We just are kind of coming up empty. Maybe you're getting burnt out. Maybe you're feeling as though it's wasted efforts, a waste of time. You may be questioning at this point in your life, you know, are things going to work? What will come of this? And I think that you need to be a little bit more realistic that it's not all about you. Sometimes when things aren't moving or you're not getting the type of payout that you were expecting, and certainly that you know you've earned, you have to look at the other people involved, and you have to be willing to use your discernment, maybe pass judgment, you know, analyze them and ask if this is really worthwhile I think that you're finding that some of the situations, the relationships, the contracts, let's say, that you've been investing in aren't wanting to grow. They're not wanting to pop up from the soil and have their day in the sun. They're not wanting to change and go through a metamorphosis. They're not wanting to, even though you've poured into them, pour back into you. And that's a lonely feeling that can create a sense of isolation on top of that sense of burnout or impending burnout. And I think that where you need to be right now is realistic, like I said, but I also think that you need to be pouring more into you. So, a solution whenever you're in a predicament like this in life is simply to pull back. Pull back. I'm not going to keep digging and digging and digging. I'm not going to keep trying. I'm not going to overreach. I'm not going to keep watering these seeds. I'm not going to keep, doing the sun dance and praying to the gods that we have the right weather. I'm not going to keep sheltering these things and these people and situations from the storms. And, what are we talking about here? Basically, maintenance. There's a whole ton of maintenance going on, and you could just stop. You could just pull back and say, instead of putting my energy there, I'm going to be introspective. I'm going to put it back on me. What if you were to pull all of that attention, affection, energy, thought away and put it back on yourself? Is that something you're afraid of doing? What is the resistance, certainly in the past, to doing that? And I think you need to see, okay, what the answer is to that question, but also like watch what will happen when you start watering yourself more. It is certainly time. And that's really where I see your garden growing. Okay. I even want to say this whole year. I mean, this isn't really a show where I was going to do like 2026 messages, but hey, if it's coming up, I feel like that's the theme of this year for you. Okay. That anytime something isn't really giving back, pull your energy away. Okay. And put back into you. All right. Thank you. We are going to move on to Melsubi 75. Mel Subi. Okay. Who is, I know, Melissa, one of my YouTube members. Okay. Melissa, what am I getting for you? I heard you like shouting and then being like, shh, shh. Now, I thought somebody was telling you to shush, but I don't think so. I think it's actually you. Now, someone may have done this to you. This is a grandmother who feels more like an auntie, or a grandmother who may read. A lot of readers may say to you, "This is your godmother," or something like this. This is your aunt coming through, but it's actually a grandmother who's a little bit more. I don't want to say cold and detached, but she's also got this sort of frivolous energy about her, and she has a lot of depth to her that she didn't always share. She may have been misunderstood. She wasn't really trying to gain an audience, so she didn't always share and expose everything about herself. But if you would have spent time with her, you would have done deeper. It's like, wow, there were many stories, many layers, many travels, many relationships and jobs and things she did, and no one even knew about. So she has so many stories. She's a brilliant woman, and she's got a lot of wisdom, and mystery about her. I feel like you're very much like her. And I feel that, she may have done this to you, especially the last couple years. If you were over speaking, if you were oversharing, if you were overreaching and trying to like negotiate with people or get them to behave or get everybody to get along or get things to work in a particular way that, you weren't wrong. You knew that was the best way. But it wasn't up to you. You were sort of trying to control everything. She would have come in spirit and said, shh, shh, like, close your mouth, shut down your energy, pull back away from this, and let the chips fall where they may. Let it play out as it should. Let karma hit, let everyone be on their own journey, acceptance is key. Get comfortable in the discomfort, whatever it is. I think now you're doing this to people. You're doing this for people. You're doing this at people. All right. So now you have people around you who are like younger. Now, that doesn't have to mean literally in age. It can just be that they're more mature, or you're teaching them, like you're the elder and they're younger in some way. And I see you doing this to them. I see you being like when you see them getting frazzled, you see them getting nervous, you see them anxious, or you see them overreaching in any way, and they just need to rest. They just need to come back down to center, come back down to earth even. You're you're telling them kind of like stern, quiet down. And it's funny because it works. It reminds me of and every mother does this, but when you count, it's like 1, 2, 3. By the time you get to 3, everybody better be in check or else. Okay. So it's giving off that type of energy, this parental, figure. And I think you need to own more of that reality, that is your new position in life, whether you wanted it or not, that this is what you're going to be doing with people. And I'm not just talking family or your own kids. I mean, in general, I think you're going to be asked to lead more and parent, basically. Okay, the public. Very, very interesting. Okay, thank you, Melissa. Next up is Maraid. Maraid, what message do I have coming through for you? Maraid, I got too many people trying to talk to you, and this is coming up to the right. So this is in the future. 3 different people, 2 the same, 1 of different. You may find yourself dating someone who's a little chubby, a little chunky, a little husky. I don't think he would want to hear any of that, but he's a bigger guy, and he's a little bit lacking in audience awareness. And so he may have a tendency to run his mouth or be telling stories, or I don't know if sometimes these are jokes, or if he's just talking about circumstances. He's talking about, what these other guys said, and, so-and-so said this and did this and did this. And you're listening to this and you're just like, I can't do this. I can't listen to this. But you really seem to like him. And I think he's doing that. And then you've got these 2 other people who are trying to date you. And I think you are dating them all. But they're like Silent Bob. I keep hearing Silent Bob. That was a movie. I'm sailing. He was strapped to the front of the boat. Was that Silent Bob? Anyways, you can Google it. But I think that there's something they're hiding. When people are I would rather have them say too much. Okay, always. Because at least they're an open book. At least they're not hustling you in any way, because they can't get away with it. Okay, because they would be quiet, or they would expose themselves, and it would, showcase. So I think that you're figuring out more of what you want, because these other 2, while you may have more physical attraction, especially to the one there, he doesn't say enough. He's definitely holding back. And I think it's suspicious. And I mean, that's how you're reading it. You're thinking that it's suspicious. And I say rightfully so. There could be a porn addiction going on there, which could be a series of other problems. Maybe this is someone who hasn't learned to kind of, I'm hearing migrate or integrate into a relationship, being able to be in a relationship. This can also mean one of them is having problems seeing women as people, not objects. And that makes them very quiet. Those types do tend to be quiet a lot of the time. And you're like, what are they hiding? Because people who can speak freely and run their mouth, they may be inappropriate sometimes. And it may seem like, they're lacking audience awareness, and to a degree, maybe they are, but, they're not so paranoid over every single thing that comes out of their mouth, because they're going to expose themselves, and I think you're going to have to pick and choose what it is that you really want. Yeah, so anyways, I see you going through that and I see you being like, this is too much information. And I just want to say to you, like, especially this is mostly coming from your relationship guide and a grandmother on mom's side, don't get overwhelmed. Try to have fun with the process. Treat it like a science project, an experiment. You're in the lab, you're in the love lab, but it shouldn't be something stressful for you, because so many times you're like, my brain hurts. I can't deal with any of them. And it's like, this is very throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're like, none of them are it, and it's like, why not? Why not? You're just supposed to be learning more of what suits you for a minute. Okay. Have fun with it. Thank you. Thank you, Maraid. Mel Subi said, thank you, Ivy. You're very welcome, Mel Subi. We're going to do one for Edgar. Let's see. Edgar, what is coming through for you? So you're like pushing on a phone, but it's an old phone. It's like one of those office phones. They were always like beige, in the 80s. And sometimes they had that weird arm thing. So like people who were like in, I don't know, finance or insurance or whatever, the adults, they would like put it on their arm and they would be able to like lean on their chin and talk. It's like one of these weird phones from back in the day. And I think what this is referencing here is like an old school way of communicating. If you have been hoping for a period of time in your life where you could be like off of the dating apps or off of social media and having a more organic experience with people, more meaningful interactions, you're talking with someone and they're not on their phone the whole time. I mean, I know everyone likes to be on their phone, but I still think it's rude. I'm old school on this too. When I'm with somebody, that phone is down. Now, if they're going to be on their phone, I'll do my thing and I probably won't be hanging out with them again. But I see you just wanting this connection. It's not asking too much. It isn't. And I think that what's happening here, I'm getting 3, and I do feel like I'm looking at the next 3 months, although I see it peaking between the 6th and the 7th month out from now again, with the 7th month being such a change in your circumstances that you're going to look back even at the previous month and be like, wow, everything is unrecognizable. And this will be in particular, okay, with relationships. So if you've been hoping to connect with people, find better company, okay, bring back the old school method of communication for the sake of genuine exchange and intimacy, and enjoying the company of others and being like present, that's going to be happening for you. And I really think it's something you should feed more of, and pay attention to what happens in your brain, what happens in your body, what happens through your nervous system as you're doing this, because there's this great sense of you learning things that, especially through, I'm hearing regulation, from those interactions that you could teach others. I think a lot of this is going to boil down to you solving some problems that a lot of people have in regards to like social anxiety and stuff. Maybe if we weren't being so dismissive of one another, and maybe if we were actually giving our undivided attention, like we used to back in the day, and we were showing a little more respect and affection through things like that, people wouldn't have social anxiety in the same way they do. They wouldn't be isolating. We wouldn't be at an all-time low, where people are suffering from loneliness and a lack of friendships, So it's just kind of interesting that you could reteach whatever you're going to pick up during that time. Enjoy. Blessings. All right. Thank you. We are going to move on to the next one. I forgot to ask everyone, please give this video a thumbs up, especially now that I lost TikTok and I'm going to have to like fight to go get that back. Please, if everyone could, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment of any kind, but I would really love to hear where you're tuning in from, and share this video and subscribe. All right. Anna Pekka. What am I getting for you, Anna? I see flowers coming up. I see daisies coming up. And I've got some white ones and I've got some yellow ones. And you do have maternal energy who watches over you. I want to say great godmother. I don't think there's any such thing. Almost like a fairy godmother. I was going to say great grandmother. Okay. Great grandmother. I mean, you do have a few ladies here and 2 gentlemen, maybe also godmother, take it out resonates, but some ladies, okay, watching over you who are making sure that as these daisies come up, you're keeping them for yourself, because the minute they come up, you're looking at them and you're saying, who could I pick them for? Or could I pick them and put them in my hair for presentation? Or should I pick them and, put them in the house, as a decorative bouquet for, people to see? Should I put them in the middle of the table? Like, what should this be? What can I use them for? And it's like, why not pick them for yourself and just enjoy them, because they die so quickly? Or don't pick them at all, but just sit in quiet appreciation for their beauty and the joy that they're giving, the scent that they give. Like, how can you sort of immerse your senses in the enjoyment of something beautiful that the universe gave you? Everything that the universe gives you doesn't have to be picked for you to give away. Okay? This is a period of time for you to be blessed for the efforts you've put in. This isn't just about like work and career in your life contract, although I do see growth there, but this is also about like the love that you've given to others, the time that you've put in to even being consistent when you didn't see payouts, okay, especially like in 2024 and 2025, or the last 2 quarters in 2025, you've still been consistent on your growth and you get blessings for that. And so the symbol of the daisies, the white daisies, are always going to be about new beginnings. They could be about healing as well. It's God energy, it's mediumship, it's channeling, it's that white light, that universal intelligent energy that knows how to heal. And then we've got the yellow ones, which are fun, travel, adventure. This could be like upcoming trips that you want to plan. And these don't have to be long distance trips. These could also just be like local adventures, for example, but it's about exploration and simple joys when we're talking about the daisies. And these are for you. Okay. So the blessings that are going to be coming in for you, and they'll be coming from all different angles, are blessings that you need to spend more time with, immerse yourself in, and really have an attitude of gratitude and appreciation, not just for the fact that the universe is rewarding you, but pat yourself on the back because you earned that. And it doesn't need to be shared with anyone else. Okay. All right. We are going to move on to Elvin. Thank you, Anna. Elvin Ramos. Elvin, what am I getting for you? I feel your heart opening. I'm seeing the Grinch movie. Like, it grew 10 sizes big, and like busted out of his chest or the box or whatever. And it's like, he had those like angry eyebrows, it's like his eyebrows lifted, and there's this sort of like grin, there's this happiness, this joy, this sense of connectivity to the town or to the people, to the world around you. You seem to be coming out of a phase of darkness, and I don't know why I'm laughing. I don't know. It's the kind of, this whole Grinch thing is kind of funny symbolism, I guess, even though he genuinely wounded, and he had really been betrayed, for sure. And he was done dirty, he was done wrong for sure. And it was righteous anger that he had, but at some point these circumstances do allow in everyone's life for you to choose. Do you want to stay stuck in that, or do you want to evolve beyond it? And it's an inside job, even though the outside circumstances are often supporting it. And in your case, they are. So this can mean that the people around you, the circumstances that were once, negative or toxic are shifting. The tide is turning. We have fluidity. I'm seeing 2 to 3 months, all of this happening. And in particular, during the second month turning into the third month, I think you're getting some like concrete offers or contracts and information coming in. Also, this may have something to do with your work and money, your resources, anything that you're investing in where you spend a lot of like time and energy. You could be getting some significant payouts in those areas as well. But I see more loyalty to you from all of these things, and it's about time. And you had to prove some things to the universe before you could have it. You had to, what is that? Stability. I'm hearing stability. You had to prove stability. You had to stay strong. You had to be stable. You had to prove in repetition that you were going to show up every day and fight the demons and come with positive attitude even when things weren't working your way. But I heard something else. Oh, integrity. You had to prove integrity. Okay. So here come these blessings, and I see your heart chakra opening. All right. And it wouldn't hurt to do a little more work on the heart chakra to get that going, to trigger it even more so. But this is a beautiful thing. Once the heart chakra is open, it's not just the love flowing out of you, it's the love that can flow in. And there were some things that were there the whole time, but it's like you couldn't really receive them. So this is beautiful. I'm excited to see that. Nice clean flow of energy. Thank you, Elvin. Eric E is next. Eric, what am I getting for you? I have a letter coming. I have this letter coming to you. It is likely just a symbol, but it would be symbolic of a message of some kind. Okay, so that could be like an email, that could be a text, that could be a message of any kind. And I think that someone is closing a door. You could be feeling rejected, or you could be feeling like you hit a brick wall with this person. And I have you looking back at them and saying, it is what it is. It's almost like I surrender. And the image of you walking away and moving on feels very much like if you've ever seen Tom Hanks in Castaway. I know I bring that up a lot. I don't know why it's such a big one in my symbol base, but Tom Hanks in Castaway, he just lived a series of that over and over and over and over again. Every time he hit a brick wall, he hit a rejection, he just kept going. He just kept trying over and over again. And he would, not beating his head up against a wall or, chasing someone, but moving on to something else. The ocean in that movie, watch it if you haven't seen it, it taught him so much about fluidity and being willing to just hold on to hope and see what the tide will bring in. But you can't have it when you're in a certain state of mind, or it's not the right time yet. There's divine timing on things. So this is a blessing in disguise, because it's teaching you, only because you're willing to accept the lesson, because in the past you haven't been, but it is teaching you how to speak your truth, speak from your heart, and allow the other person to wall you out, take you in, explain what they want to explain, like whatever. And you are accepting that no matter what it is. You're saying that really has nothing to do with me. They're not an extension of me. I am going to be fine regardless. And because they do close that door, give that rejection, build that brick wall, you're going to walk away into a different kind of future for yourself with dignity. Okay. Stoic, and feeling a bit like an explorer. You almost feel a little high. I'm like, was he smoking? I don't know. Maybe you're smoking right now. But it's like you're a little stoned. It's almost like I'm getting high off of this new energy. And I think a lot of us feel that with like Kundalini and downloads, and when we hit this peak moment where we finally broke an old pattern. Sometimes these would go hundreds and hundreds of years back or lifetimes back. We broke through the karma. You can get a sort of high off of that. Everything's more crisp. It's like colors are brighter. You can smell and taste things in a different way. It's wild. And what you attract and who you attract in after that is magical. Pay attention. Okay. And don't hold on. All right. Thank you. Good luck with everything. Shauna Dempsey is next. Shauna Dempsey, what do I have for you? My jaw's cracking. If you are going through a period of stress, if you're grinding your teeth, this could also be financially related or resource related, but I feel like that's a little bit more to the future. If you are going through any stressful situation where you feel like you have said everything that you can, you've said it as many times as you can, and quite frankly, I don't think you should find other ways to say it. It's almost like, I shouldn't have to say this again, or I shouldn't have to find other way. I am a clear communicator. You seem to be getting fed up. And it seems almost like the last 5 to 6 months, you've had some situations that were definitely testing your throat chakra because you were speaking your truth. All right. And then it wasn't being accepted. It was disrespected. It was disregarded. It was ignored. And unfortunately, when things like that are happening, it is still our responsibility, to fix it, to deal with it. And it's like you're done. You want to just dead done over with, put it behind you. But for a while, you weren't really dealing with it because you were busy, life was happening, and then the holidays and this and that and the other. So it's like, look, I just have to keep going. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. And I just have to hope that things are working out. But now it's like, almost like, pan face. It's like, or like a punch in the face. It's like, I am recognizing and I am dealing with this, that this is not changing. I am not being heard. And so you are getting ready to make some moves. Okay. So immediately it's like, this is what, what you're going to have to do is figure out your plan A, plan B, plan C, maybe even a plan D. Okay. What else can I do? And, I think that what's going to happen here is that you can, create more abundance for yourself. You can bring in more wealth, more prosperity. You can allow yourself to, through almost like this act of, look, I'm not going to keep pushing. I'm simply going to reroute. You're telling the universe that you see yourself as the resource. You aren't looking to others or circumstances or systems, right, to give you what you need. You are going to create it. And you're going to see all types of different prosperity increases. I think that it will also help with relationships. If you've been feeling like your relationships are a little bit dull, this could also be friendships in particular, where you're like, I don't know. I mean, they're just, like maybe you're around people who aren't growing at the same rate as you, or you feel like there's not a ton in common, or you would just like to spend more time. It doesn't always have to be like one is wrong, but it's maybe just that you want to spend time with different types of people. and explore new options. I think even that is going to be a side effect in growing for you. But it looks like it's hitting money, it's hitting resources because it's coming from your root chakra. It's coming from a place of power. And it's out with the old and in with the new. Okay. And I don't really see you ever going back. I mean, this feels like the end of a karmic cycle. And I wouldn't be surprised if the last month or so this has been like maybe 6 weeks, if this has really been peaking for you. Because we're at the end of a 9-year, 2025. This is it. We're wrapping it up. And so it's the end of the old cycles to move into 2026, a 1 year and build. Okay. And for new beginnings, we have to have endings. Every time the bus stops, somebody's got to get off. Very exciting. Mindy, thank you. Shauna, Mindy is next. Love and beloved. Okay, Mindy. Hello. Did you hear her? Hello. Hi, Mama. This is her new thing, is digging the chair. And all right. You want to say hi? Say hi, Ezzy. Aw. Esmeralda Marie Rivera, everybody. She's a lover. Okay, so Mindy, what am I getting for you, Mindy? Mindy, what do we have for Mindy? Start, stop, tug of war. It's like you're in a tug of war with yourself, and you've had a tendency, there's talk of the last 3 months, and I would even warn, like, for the next 3 to 4 months going forward with this peaking in the 5th month, you're like, where's my helmet? You let me put on my helmet. Here we go again. Here we go. And it's like, well, but you set that up that way. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be chaotic. Life shouldn't feel like, buckle up, everybody. It's like, what can we do about this? How can we not need the helmet? Basically. This is also symbolic when we talk about the helmet of quite literally protecting your brain, protecting your mind. You may be struggling with this tug of war and this back and forth to keep out energies that simply aren't yours. I'm going to recommend my empathic awareness class. When you're a high level empath, especially as you are, but when you hit the 3rd and the 4th levels, you absorb involuntarily. You absorb other people's energy from atmospheres and objects and spirits. You're taking in so much that you can lose sight of really who you are. I talk a lot in that training, and I teach this at universities. I train therapists, I train doctors, I train educators. We talk a lot about what is mine and what is others, and how disturbing it is to be so overwhelmed with other people's stuff that you really aren't even sure who you are, what you feel, or what you're thinking. And it can make you very indecisive, which is going to be an issue here. Where, and again, the last 3 months, where it's like, I am positive I'm going to move forward. No, I'm certain I should do this. Okay, this is the direction I need to head in. And then it's like, in a very short period of time, it's like I'm backpedaling, I'm hemming and hawing, I'm what's the word I'm looking for? Just delaying it, procrastinating. It's like, that is because of the overabsorption. Okay. The idea also of the helmet is like protecting your brain from pain. Okay. Headaches, migraines. And these are all things that are really common with level 3-4 empathic ability. The constant headaches. And I think that the other thing here is that you need to protect your 3rd eye and your crown chakra a bit better, because your psychic ability is like, off the charts. You've got channeling coming in. So that's all mediumship. And you just seem to be raw dogging it out here. I mean, you're just like, let's just freestyle. And it's like, you really can't, or you will always need a helmet. It will always be, okay, into the future, like, buckle up, everybody, hold on for the ride. And then after some, encounter that should just be a regular day, you've got breakdowns instead of breakthroughs, and burnout instead of inspiration, and you're just low level instead of high vibing, and it's just not really taking you anywhere, so manage the energies once and for all. I would make it a huge goal if I were you, for the upcoming year. Thank you very much, Mindy. Okay, let's move on to another one. We've got Lucy. If you're here from TikTok, let me know. Just curious. I want to see how many people transfer over. I would be delighted to get everybody over here onto YouTube eventually. So I'm not going to cry about any losses, okay? But, I'll still fight a good fight there to get it back. But yeah, if you're here from TikTok, drop a little comment. I would love to know. Okay, Lucy Marsh, or Lucy is saying thank you. Did I read Lucy? No, she's just saying thank you early. Okay. All right, Lucy, what message do I have for you? You have a grandmother coming through who's a little bit bigger, like kind of busty, and like had a bit of a belly. Kind of rolls, some rolls going on here, but she's not very tall. And she liked her food, and she liked her sweets. She liked her, cakes and cookies. And she just, I look forward to that time in life when it's just like cakes and cookies and tea and coffee and chocolate and what I like. Who cares? Like go to the beach in your bikini looking like that and whatever. Live life. I feel like she really lived, and she enjoyed every moment. It's like savoring the moments, or really getting all of your senses involved with whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's smoking a cigarette or drinking alcohol or talking with a friend or having a lovely dessert or, a really great salad. It's like she just immersed herself in everything. And I feel like she made a lot of mistakes in life. I think she, has some karma to work out, but she got this right. She really nailed it. And she honestly was always that way. She shows me even back in her 30s, she would be that way. So she was like smoking a cigarette in her younger days. She was like ceremoniously, is that even a word? Like, taking it in and being in the moment. And it is a ritual. Everything in life is a ritual. She's kind of brilliant, really. I think that even if she had her flaws, even if she made her mistakes, she just hopes that you will pay attention to how much you are like her, and hopefully take some pride in that. Because you have a way of moving through life very judgmental of yourself, very critical. Could have done this better. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said that sooner. Da 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 da. There's always going to be something, there is. But like, you're very present. You're very present, and you get that from her, but you put your own personality into it, your own twist into it. And it makes you a great presenter. It makes you, energetically stand out among others, and it makes you a great storyteller. There's a lot here. Even when you're not trying to tell a story, it's just the way you move. It's the way you act. It's the way, you would smoke a cigarette or have a drink or eat a salad. It's like, it's everything. And you're being watched for that. Okay. You're being observed more than you think you are. And you don't always seem to reward yourself or say lovely things back to yourself, but you're always watching to gift something loving to others. And you need to start gifting that back to yourself. Pay attention, okay, to the way that you are. And you can credit some of that back to her. Also, your sister popping in here, giving what looks like, I'm going to have to go with a cardinal on this. I mean, I was going to say red robin, but maybe let's just say red birds, and also like white butterflies, white birds. Moths could also count in this, and you're going to be hearing from her in a dream, likely tonight or tomorrow. A lot of love to you there. Thank you, Lucy. Next one up is Deanna Marie. Okay. Deanna Marie, what do I have for you? Okay, so I have you actually cutting somebody off. I have you right around this time, but more like maybe in the next like 48 hours to a week ballpark. You're both humans, so you have free will, and I can't say 100% when you'll do this, but I would say highly likely within that period of time. So I see you, just really kind of cutting someone off and saying like, this is it. This is where the wall is built. This is where I draw the line or it stops. And I think what could be happening here is that, and you could be doing this with a couple people. This feels like male energy, but, they tried to instigate. They tried to upset you in some way, to confuse you in some way. They were actively involved in taking you down a peg, knocking you off your high horse or taking you down a notch or two. And there is an absolute like no tolerance policy going into 2026 for you, of tolerating anything that is going to lower or reduce your energy. So if you have gone through a series of unfortunate events, either 5 of them total in the last year ballpark, or for the last 5 months, take it out resonates. You are at a point where you are like cutthroat about anything that steals your energy, that steals your focus away from your goals or what's important or what you're enjoying in the moment. And it's almost like this, so help me God. Okay. If I have to address this, it's not going to be pretty. I just saw, there's a man who walks through the house. He's the builder of the house with his very white face in his dark suit. He walks through here. His wife, they're from 1882. His wife is always in this white dress, right? Victorian times. She often, I'm not seeing her right now, but I just saw him walk this way. I've never seen him come this way. I've only seen him go this way. This was their kitchen originally through here. So I just almost shit my pants. And there was another incident for those of you who've been following the paranormal activity on this house. Sorry, Deanna. I will wrap that up in a second here. But also for those of you who've been following the paranormal activity at this house and the ball videos that I talk about, and I always talk about how the balls or the balloons and stuff land dead center on a mat or in a doorway or on a heating vent or on the steps. Like, it doesn't matter where. They always are dead center. And that started as soon as I moved in, when I was talking to a spirit. I put up videos on this. And the new thing here is that I can throw a ball and it'll just roll, bam, dead center, like it's pulled dead center. I've got pictures on the phone. It's freaking me out. This place is getting like more and more active. It's that time of year. Anywho, there's your nightmare for the night, everyone. Can you imagine sleeping here? It's been insane lately. All right, Deanna, what was I saying? I'm so sorry. Let me think of what the hell was I saying? I'm just going to wrap it up with this because I really don't even remember what the hell I was saying. But I see you fishing also. Okay. So I see you sort of like fishing and reeling in patiently, what is yours. And so if you've been feeling like people are stealing things from you, or people are stealing your energy, or people are sort of like knocking you down, or, you're worried that you're going to go out there fishing and you're going to pull up like a shoe or a bunch of seaweed or, something gross that you can't eat, that is not going to be happening especially this upcoming year, and especially the first 6 to 7 months. You check your chart too. You may have some Cancer or Gemini going on in there, but this is going to be very profitable for you. But you have got to set boundaries with the drains and the people that are drains as well, because I see you being patient. I see you out there fishing and being like, I will catch, what is rightfully mine to catch. And that is a huge prosperity symbol. It's also symbolic of you learned lessons, right? Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat, okay, for the rest of his life. This is a big deal, and it's really positive, okay? So make the changes that are necessary, and be patient. Just be patient. All right, let's move on to, let's see. What have we got going on here? Vanessa Dempsey. I'm so freaked out. I'm afraid there's something behind me. Okay. Vanessa Dempsey. Vanessa Dempsey. What do I have for you, Vanessa? I have like your heart beating out of your chest. It feels very romantic. So if you're looking for a new level within your romantic relationships, within your romantic partnership, you're going to get it. This is exciting. I have like heart palpitations, which is the equivalent of like butterflies in the stomach, or sort of like the flip-flop, that roller coaster feeling without the toxic, dysregulated nervous system, because they're probably a narc, it's not that. It is genuinely like electrifying, almost like you're connecting with someone in a way where you feel like it's bettering your life, like your day-to-day life, like, beyond being with them, it's making your life better. You seem to have a little like pep in your step. You seem to be a little bit more vibrant. You're kind of, I almost want to say like wanting to showcase yourself. So you could be, I don't want to get too much into your personal business, but maybe you're reaching a heightened sense of like your sexuality. Maybe you're getting into some funky stuff there too, and you're displaying it. And I'm not saying you have to go walking around in like a bra with your leather whip and, you know what I mean? Some pleather mini skirt or something weird. Like, I'm not saying it has to be cartoony, it's like you're somehow though bringing it, okay, to your appearance, your presentation. It's like you're sharing it with the world and you're doing it unapologetically. And I think this is actually pretty wild. You are finding yourself. Okay. This is a little bit different. You could also be wrapping up some karma in regards to any wounds you've had in that area. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Thank you on Instagram. Sometimes we have to heal the past, and that can be hard if there was any type of abuse there, or if you dealt with romantic partners, if you can even call them that had like rejected you in some way, or made you feel insecure, if you've gone through anything that sort of knocked down your self-esteem a bit. And I think that you're just like, look at me, look at these, like, look at that, and it's like, I feel amazing. I feel like and you're owning it. It's like, I'm hearing like, I'm too sexy, like on the catwalk. That was like in the early 90s. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Whatever you're doing, and you may also be changing your hair. You may be changing something about your face, your makeup, your nails, your shoes, or your pants. I don't know if you're trying like not to wear pants, you're trying to wear more like dresses or skirts or something. Like this area is changing, like the lower from like the knees down. So like the feet. I think that you should really celebrate you And you should celebrate how gorgeous you are. And if you feel sexy, that's great. If you feel like you're connecting with someone or multiple other people or whatever, and it makes you feel good, not just in, again, not just in the moments when you're with them, but beyond that, it's elevating your life. Just enjoy. Okay. Enjoy the ride. You are breaking out of an old cycle. 100%. This feels like exploration too. I mean, there's a lot going on here, but you are uninhibited. Love this. Love this. All right. Thank you, Vanessa. Deanna Alt said, thank you, Ivy. You are welcome, Deanna. Thank you. Also, I forgot to mention to you guys, if you would like to do this privately, or if you want to gift this type of reading to someone else, it's up on my website under spirit messages. Okay, we are going to move on to Mark. Nature calls you. Okay, nature calls you is Mark. All right, Mark, what am I getting for you? Just got like a chest plate, like wear your bulletproof vest. Got some arrows coming at you. This is biblical. I'm going to massacre this. I'm not going to be able to remember exactly, but something to the tune of, you can have attacks from all sides, but you are protected by God, the universe, whatever you believe in, but you are protected. And so don't fear, just keep marching forward. It's another way of saying ignore it, okay? Or you can feel sometimes like you're in a boat surrounded by sharks, right? And can't find the oars, and you're just hoping everything goes well, and eventually you just sort of tune it out. They're not going to get in the boat. You're going to be fine. I think that what you're going to be dealing with here, and this is slightly to the right, which is your future, are some situations where you aren't necessarily getting what you're worth. This could be happening in pay, contracts, verbal agreements, okay? And it doesn't have to just be work related or financial related, okay? I think this is going to hit you again from several different angles. And don't dismiss the ones that are hitting you on a personal note. Okay, because you have a tendency to be like work and money and contracts and, bank agreements and da-da-da-da-da. And if all this stuff is okay, then everything's okay. It's like, why not be a little bit more critical, okay, in the upcoming year of relationships that really aren't giving back? You have a way of smoothing everything over, and you never really complain, and you don't really share your feelings about it, even if you were disappointed by people, and you have shown up for people who haven't shown up for you. And if there are relationships also where you didn't show up for them, you're going to be confronted. Like, this is a karmic cycle. So it's going to come back around in whatever ways. It's not necessarily just that, you gave and didn't receive. It's also going to be, where did people give to you, but you didn't give back? So that could be coming up mentally. That could be coming up through, flashbacks, memories in your dreams. We work out a lot of karma with other people when we're not actually dealing directly with those people, or the interactions with them aren't productive. We do it in our sleep. So I would say the first 3 months, the first quarter, right? Is that a quarter? Well, ballpark. So, of 2026, you're going to be dealing with this. And the idea of having your bulletproof vest on, or having this like shield on, if you were in battle back in the day, it would be like a metal chest plate or something. Let these arrows bounce off of you, because you know your worth and you're not going to back down. So if they want to try to knock you down, cut you short, be underhanded in some way, it's almost like you're waiting for the arrows to stop. You're waiting for them to go to sleep. And I know this is a tarot card. Let me know in the comments which one it is. But I love this idea that you go when they're sleeping in their tents and you steal their swords. You don't even have to fight a battle. You don't have to break a sweat. You don't have to worry about it. Okay? steal their swords. So you'll be making moves based on what's right for you. You may be pretty cutthroat, rightfully so, in the first few months of the year. Okay. Good for you. All right. So we are done with Mark. Thank you, Mark. Vincent Barone. Let's see what I'm getting for you. Vincent Barone, what am I getting for you? A lot of talking. There seems to be a desire to maybe talk to a bunch of people, whether this is at like a coffee shop, or I see people playing chess or checkers, or you're in some type of environment that feels very much like, they're trying to make it non-traditional. I think it is just something like a coffee shop or a sandwich shop or like a little deli, but they're trying to make it like a third space, a space where people can come together and build community, be social, chat, interact. And I see you doing this, and I see you building up quite a network when you're doing it, but also feeling internally a little bit empty. So it's sort of, it's this dichotomy, because I'm seeing you around all these people or having this social interaction level that's higher than what most people have. And you're feeling emptier in some ways, okay, than what a lot of people do. And I think it's a call. It's something you need to pay attention to. If there are things you need to work on internally, if there are things that you need to address, things that you're dissatisfied with about yourself or your life or circumstances, within your life, just make sure you're addressing them. Make sure it's not like, okay, these skeletons in the closet are starting to come out. The stuff in the basement that I've been pushing down is starting to come up. I'm going to run to the coffee shop. I'm going to go out to the bar. I'm going to go play chess. I'm going to go chit chat with it. That is not a time. That is not the time to try to be social. That is the time to be social with yourself, with your higher mind, process things. Okay. A lot of people run to social engagement because it's highly effective in taking our mind off of things. But people who can really be alone and get comfortable in the discomfort and be centered are extraordinarily powerful. It is a skill that needs to be mastered at some point, and no time like the present. The other thing I see you doing potentially is picking up an instrument. So it seems like, I thought I saw you in a coffee shop type of environment. I thought you were playing chess or talking to these people who were playing chess. You're standing there, but then you went and picked up an instrument, and it's like now you're playing in a band, or you're doing like an open mic night, or you're not, I don't know, maybe you are hosting, but you're at least like up on the stage. You're like, whether you're singing solo or you're just playing. Some of these are covers. Some of these are original, and sometimes you're with other people. So it's very possible you can also achieve this healing through music, but don't, use it as an escape again. And you really can't with music like that, because to be good at it, you have to be fluid. It's just like mediumship, to be good at it, you have to be clean. You have to remove the blocks, or it's choppy. All right. Thank you, Vincent. We are going to move on to Tanya Rivera. Love seeing another Rivera. Tanya, what do I have for you? If you guys have not already submitted your $10 donation, do so now. I don't know how many more we have. Kim, keep me posted, but and if you're new, if you're just tuning in, you're going to drop a $10 donation, and I'm going to deliver out to you whatever is the most important message for you to hear at this time. And please give this video a thumbs up. Okay, drop a comment and subscribe. Tanya Rivera. Tanya, what am I getting for you? You have a real bossy lady coming up behind you, being like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's like she's, I think, getting ready to clean the house. So it's like, get all these kids out of here because I can't get anything done with all these kids in here. And they keep trampling in like dirt. Everything's sticky and they're touching everything. And, she reminds me of my abuela, like everything's covered in plastic, I think that what she's talking about here with you, because she's coming from behind you, is that right about now, and for the next like 2 months, this whole process will be playing out, and it'll peak again at 5 months and then 7 months and then a year and 2 months. It's like, let's move, move, move. And she's keeping you going forward. If there's something you've been trying to focus on, but you're struggling, I have you trying to build something. I have you trying to, I heard construct something from your work and money guide. You're trying to stay on track and create this thing that you love, and you're pouring quite a lot of passion into it, and it's pretty productive, but you're constantly distracted and like stopping, or it's like I'm getting off track. The train has halted. I don't even know when it's going to leave the station again, because now you're dealing with this, you're dealing with this person, you're dealing with this situation, and that can be frustrating because you have other obligations in life, sure. But this needs to be one. Okay. And so it's like, okay, she comes and she's letting you know it's time. Okay. So she's going to be pushing you forward. Now there's also a gentleman here, and he's smoking a cigar, and, I don't know if you're Cuban or if these are Cubans. Maybe these are Cubans. A cigar is symbolic in my base of celebration. This is some type of achievement that is allowing you to level up and to get free. And if you do the work, okay, this is going to play out in a fashion that he said surprises you. I feel like this really surprises you actually quite a lot. There could be an increase in your prosperity and more opportunities. I heard expansion, but I also saw networking. Okay, expansion and expansion through networking as well. Even partnerships, okay, things like this. So allow yourself to sometimes derail and just make sure that getting back on track and staying as focused as you want to be, is something you also allow. And it's not really a time for having a lot of grace with that. There's time and a place for everything. But this is go time. And you may have already started on that journey where you're like, no, I'm hyper focused. I'm ready to go. Okay. Keep with it then. Okay. That's what they're saying. Payouts are coming. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good luck, Tanya. Your grandmother's hilarious. All right. Love and beloved 5497 said, thank you, Ivy. This message was so helpful for moving forward. Your way of delivering is clear and very helpful. Well received. Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. I really do. Yeah, that's good to hear too, because I don't know what I'm saying or what I'm about to say, and I don't know, always know how it's going to come out, and so I hope it lands. That's awesome. CJG is next. What do I have for you? I have somebody trying to shut your microphone off. Funny, because that's been happening to me. And it does seem to be a male energy. Okay, so maybe like a loser ex, or, someone who wants to knock you down, someone who's jealous. I just had a loser ex, like, wipe out all my Facebook accounts. And his name is right there. Criminal activity I will be pursuing. Probably the same person who's attacking my TikTok, you know what I mean? So like, it reminds me very much of what a lot of us girls are going through at any given point in our life. Is we talked to some loser and you can never shake them. They stalk you for the rest of your life because they've literally got nothing going on. So, he's like lurking and lurching and trying to get in. and prevent you from speaking. Now, that's the symbol of your mic getting turned off. And so when this happens, it isn't necessarily literal, but be careful who you are addressing, responding to, letting back in any capacity. Be careful. Be careful. However, I feel the majority of this message is going to involve energetic pulling, and you may need to do a cord cutting. This person, I heard 5'9", but I think they're a little bit taller than that. Maybe a little bit taller than that. What, like 5'10"? Is that, I don't know. I think that can also mean that he lied about his height and you busted him. So, and they don't normally lie about like just 1 inch. It's usually like 2 or 3, so take that how it resonates. He would grow his hair out a little bit more, on the top. And he may have had like gangly nails. Like he didn't really either keep his nails short enough or didn't keep them clean enough. You may have noticed it from time to time and you were like, ew. I don't know. The hygiene is off. They always are with dudes like this. Gross. There's something about his appearance that was a wake-up call for you to know that he was not loving and caring for himself, right? He didn't take good care of himself, and he was jealous of you for taking exquisite care of yourself. Your standards are raising. Something went on about 2 months ago, but 6 to 7 months ago, you started raising the bar. You started raising your standards and you started changing things. And when you do this and you've got someone who's like stalking you in the literal sense, or they're stalking you energetically too, probably, it's a trigger for them. It's a narcissistic wound. It's a hit to their ego. So they're like, gotta knock her down, gotta find a way to knock her down. The thing is, we just build bigger and better every single time. Every time it's more negative karma against them, and it's a level up for us. So keep that in mind. And if you are feeling drained in the next, I would say 3 weeks to 2 months, possibly this could stretch out for the next 2 to 3 months, but the idea of being spontaneously drained or feeling like you have bad luck or you're having bad dreams or this person is showing up all around you in their name and they're showing up in your, sleep state, astral travel, or popping in your head, whatever it is, do a cord cutting and make sure, if you need to, also like do a binding, things like that, and protect your energy, because if they can't get direct access to you, they will try to find other ways to take from you to lift themselves up, because you are a food source, with the ultimate goal of knocking you down. All right. So just be mindful. You're not imagining it. All right. Let's move on to another one. Thank you, CJG. We're going to move on to Rachel Figueroa. Rachel. All right, Rachel, what am I getting for you? Fall? Autumn? Was this the past one or the one coming up? Could be the one coming up. If you're looking at getting a new vehicle, and it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be a Hummer. It doesn't have to be like a giant SUV or a Jeep necessarily, but something, it just feels bigger and it feels more luxurious. It feels like, how do I want to say this? It feels like you could run someone over. You feel very powerful, I don't know who you're planning on running over, but I pity the fool. It's like the leather interior and the heated seats and the, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's kind of just a luxury vehicle in itself. And maybe this is something, I don't know, like a Mercedes or BMW, or maybe, it's something else. Take it out resonates, but I feel there's speed, and I do feel like there's a sense of being big or up higher on big knobby tires or something too. And it does feel kind of boxy to me. This is something you could end up getting for yourself in the upcoming year. And around fall, you seem to be having in 2026 a lot of breakthroughs in general. I also see love and relationship coming to the forefront at that time. So we could be looking at, whether this is like, marriage, or like a higher level of intimacy, a greater sense of commitment. This could be who you're with or with someone new. This, is a time though where you're receiving love because it's destined to happen during that time. The universe is sending it to you. And it won't just be that. Okay. Love, deliveries on love come from all different angles. I do feel like looking back a little ways, you've been trying to heal some childhood stuff. You have a grandma coming through. A lot of grandmas tonight. There's a strong maternal matriarchal energy here tonight, like elephants. I have her coming through with cookies, like chocolate chip cookies. I think they are. Maybe they're oatmeal raisin. I thought they were chocolate chip. Take it out resonates. But I have her coming through with a plate of cookies and being like, she's not even saying anything. She's just coming in the last few months with you, 4 months in particular. Something did happen about 7 months ago to like trigger it. So childhood wounds, unhealed issues. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that healing is cyclical. It's not linear. We don't just, go to therapy and it's done. That's it. I'm putting it behind me, or you decide, okay, I'm going to heal and it's been a year, so it's good. I'm good. No. Comes back around again and again when you're ready for the next level within it. And that's what's happening. So she is sort of feeding with these cookies. It's like, I'm here supporting you. She's helping your inner child to heal. She's helping that part of yourself that felt vulnerable, that felt lost, that is still processing some grief, hasn't totally alchemized the pain into power. And she does it in such a beautiful way, as grandmothers used to do, where they don't say anything. It's like, let me feed you, and I'll listen, just let it out. And she just had a way of being like, okay. And she's been encouraging you, along the way to do that. Now, we're not done with this process entirely. So some of the things that we see going forward are going to maximize if we can complete this cycle of healing. So honor it, give the time it deserves, give yourself the time you deserve, give your inner child. And that's not just about childhood stuff. It's just your inner child, the part of you that feels vulnerable in the world, the time to grieve and heal. And she will be there with you every step of the way. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. Jennifer Barone. Okay, Jennifer. Thank you, Rachel. Jennifer Barone. What am I getting for you? Jennifer Barone. Certificates? I can't tell if these are, maybe you are doing something with birth certificates, or you're looking at like, social security cards or passports or all that stuff. Maybe. All right. Take it out resonates. But some of the certificates that I see you dealing with, and this is right around this time, slightly to the future. This is also coming up to the front, which is in your free will zone. So I can't give a 100% guarantee whether or not you're going to do this. It's up to you. But it is going to be kind of put on your plate to deal with. And so I would recommend it. You should be looking at certificates, and I can't prescribe a diagnose. Hopefully these aren't death certificates. But if there is an expectation that you could be dealing with inheritance, estates, wills, okay? Anything of this nature. I would not rule that out entirely. I think that some of these certificates are about a house, land, real estate. I mean, I don't think it's just land. I think there's something on the land. I think there's a house on the land. There may also be like a barn or a shed or like a garage or like something else on the land. It seems like you're going to have to sort through these. All right. And it's sort of like, I don't know. I mean, you seem fine. I was going to say, take a deep breath and then let's take a look at it. But you don't seem bothered. You seem real calm, cool, collected. Maybe things like that don't bother you or overwhelm you. I think for most people, they would be like, oh my God, like crack out the whiskey, like how do I do it? But you seem to be like matter of fact, it is what it is. The answers have to be in here, right? Because it's a contract. There has to be some legal person I could talk to, or I can Google this, or some, some expert who deals with this if I hit a bump in the road. But you have this attitude of like, if I hit a bump in the road. Esmeralda Marie, everyone. Hi, Ezzy. You gonna say hi now? Say hi. I love you. So there's that. Okay. I also think that you're trying to, I heard, get your steps in. You're trying to get your steps in. So if you've been thinking about working on, get away from the camera, please. If you've been thinking about working on like, whether it be a weight loss journey or it be strength training or it be, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, or it be, just generally for like cardio, but also walking is a form of meditation. Being in motion is good for you, not only in the physical level, but also on like an energetic and spiritual level. And it keeps things moving in your life, and it keeps things moving, through your mind and your chakras. When you do this. So you're increasing law of attraction, and what is in motion stays in motion. Therefore, you're increasing manifestation power. And I see you being very motivated to do that. Okay. You may also be making changes to like your lifestyle and or your eating habits. So I see you just like eating a lot of greens and maybe berries. It looks like berries. And I think this is brilliant for you. Okay. Also, I'm hearing check the teeth. So I can't prescribe or diagnose, but like a dental checkup, and make sure you're not grinding. But I feel like a heavy focus on health going forward. And then also this focus on like, where are these resources coming from, or what are we doing with these resources? I mean, it's all positive, but it is definitely contracts and paperwork. Okay. And so it can take a little navigating, but it is worth looking at 100%. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Mm-hmm. All right. We are going to move on to another one. Okay. This is Deb or Chica. Deb, what do I have for you, Deb? I have a dad, coming through and like slamming a door and being very angry and making sure that if he's angry, like everyone else is going to feel it. If I'm angry, and, maybe often he was, he's going to make everybody else miserable. Right. And that's the patriarchal way. Everyone tiptoed around the male of the house. It feels super toxic and traditional, and not like, unexpected in any way, but unfortunate in every way. And I think that what's happening for you now is that you're processing, and I would highly recommend that you give into it, you honor it, and give it the time and attention that it deserves. You are processing any toxic masculinity, patriarchal influences, dad energy in the family. And it doesn't have to just be from your father, but like, male energy in the family that was abusive, neglectful, angry, caused for people to be on pins and needles, walking on eggshells, nervous conditions. This could have also looked a lot like drug and alcohol abuse issues, probably more like alcoholism. And I can't prescribe diagnose, but maybe escapism and avoidance issues, which typically is connected directly to like mental health problems. And it can look a lot like bipolar and on and on and on. Okay, all the things, all the ridiculous things that could have been avoided had this person or the generations of people who acted this way would just break the curse and take care of themselves and, get the help that they needed and pick up some of those tools and stop hurting everyone. But, instead you got this. So now it's your decision to be the one to break that curse, to break those chains, to burn it down, to make sure it doesn't get handed down to the next generation. And you're doing that through, again, I would recommend, it's up to your free will, but I would recommend you're doing it through a series of like unpacking, unburying, processing, and then you are scripting, like journaling it out or writing it out. And, or you're telling it, you're talking about it. So you're communicating it out in some way. And then I feel like you're using it for power to give to others, to help people, almost like an advocate, get access to the resources that they need. So other people can also break the chain. So other people can get out of the system, of the cycle. And you may, in the process of doing all of this, be making some peace with family members. And some of them you're probably not even familiar with. Like it probably goes back so far in your family, you didn't know them, but know that any of the men in the family who acted this way, or any of the women who allowed it or took on a similar role, they have karmic debt to you. So you may not know them, but they know you very well. And they're clocking you all the time. And they're trying to pay that debt back all the time. Okay, so there are benefits to that. So pay attention to increased spirit activity, paranormal activity in your house, increased visit dreams, people coming to you in your dreams, or even showing up in your readings. And you're like, who is that? I don't know who that is, but they seem to know an awful lot about you. Those are family members who have karmic debt to you. So there's a lot going on here. Interesting. And it may also be playing out through other relationships in your life at this time, like trigger points. Okay, like if you're dealing with a male who has a tendency to like, every time you bring something up, he takes his like hit to his ego, or he turns it into an argument instead of a discussion. Right there, another generation of it that you've been tolerating. Okay, so you're going to start pointing it out, right? Pinpointing it. Thank you, Deb. We are going to move on to Anne Marie. Okay. How many more, Kim? Am I doing like last call? Where are we with things? Okay. So let's see where I am in my time clock here. I think I'm good. Anne Marie, what am I getting for you? Anne Marie. Your coming through is very expensive. If you're single, for example, okay, and people are debating on approaching you, it may be like, well, I'm going to have to take her to like a really nice place for dinner. Like we're going to have to get filet mignon. We're going to have to, this is going to break my paycheck. You know what I mean? Or like, I'm going to have to dip into it's this sense of, but she's so worth it. Like I don't even care. Like I'll spend anything. I feel like they'll put anything down, which is great. But to you, it's like nothing, to you, it's nothing. You are carrying a very luxurious energy about you. And it's, a sort of wealthy vibe that says, you know, my time, my attention, my energy, all of this is expensive. And people who had been able to approach you in the past may be feeling like you raised your prices and added tax, you know, and like, well, I really can't afford it. So let me see if I could slip in, you know, a different way. Like, let me be a clown. Let me be comical. Let's try to work the friendship angle. And you're just not having it. Like, they can't, no one can touch you from there, from the past. But I do think that we're kind of in the final stage of like all of that falling off, like of people recognizing who you are. And going forward, again, I was using the example of like dating, or, you know, let's say you're in a relationship, you know, them having to put in more effort to keep you, things like that, right? That's great. But I actually see it more importantly coming from people wanting to hear you, people wanting to get you to invest a little bit of your time in sharing your wisdom with them, telling your stories, giving your skills. And this could be work related. This could be hobbies. This could be, you know, your personal wisdom from life experiences. This could be, I mean, it's going to be all over the place. It's whatever you want to share. But it's like everybody wants a piece of you. And I think this upcoming year for you, but even quite a lot in 2025, I'm hearing a lot of this started in 2025. So people were approaching you different, or looking at you different, or staring, or, you know, I don't know, things just felt like they shifted, or, you know, it got a little weird. I think that you're going to see an increase, like 10 times that amount in 2026, and even going into the first quarter of 2027. So what do you want to achieve? Right? This is the message. It's, what do you want? And I think you should get a little notepad and pen. I don't know why it looks so small to me. It looks like a pocket size thing, you know, or something you could put in your purse. You know, Barnes and Noble always has a cute little section of these little journals. I've got a whole bunch here in the spiritual shop, like, you know, they're all leather bound and stuff. You know, it just looks little, and it's like something you could carry with you all the time. And as you're realizing more and more about what you want to create, your future life, your future you know, your best self, your best lifestyle, whatever it is, you're pulling that in already. And it's going to come again from every direction, but through people who want to engage with you. And I think this is a season for you to say yes. Okay. For you to say yes, not literally to everything, because you know, when you start hitting those notes, there's a free mini class here on my YouTube channel at Ask Ivy the Medium. It's called Fighting the Dark. And I've got a part 1 and a part 2. Watch these. I talk about the 5 different ways you come under attack when you're leveling up, or you could say like new level, new devil. Okay. So when you level up, you attract everything, not just the high vibrational people and opportunities, but also like moochers and bottom feeders and all those things. Okay. So just be mindful, or people who want to stop you and prevent you from leveling up. And I also talk in that free class about how sometimes you're the block. You know, you're preventing your own self. So just be mindful. This is an exciting time, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. Okay, so ride that wave. Beautiful. Also, if somebody's trying to get together with you romantically and you're like really in debate, I think you can give them a try, but just don't forget, like, the first red flag is the last red flag. Okay. Let's see what else is coming up. Okay, we have 5 more. Okay, great. I just did Anne Marie. All right, thank you. Deborah Rose. What a gorgeous name. All right, Deborah. I'd be insufferable if I had. Okay, Deborah Rose. Deborah Rose, what do I have for you? I see you walking down the sidewalk and it's like, step on the crack, you break your mother's back, and then it's almost like you're tossing a rock and it's like hopscotch, and somebody's doing double dutch, and it's like all of these old school symbols of like playing and getting together with the other kids, and mostly girls, but you seem to be very like Virgo, you're very like organizing it, and it's supposed to be fun, but you're very like type A. It's like, no, that rock didn't land there. You took, you hopscotched out of line, or it's very like rules, and you're kind of bullying everybody else. And I think they're too afraid to leave. I think, it's somehow acceptable. It's like, let her be our mother. I don't know. It's like, let her run everything. Okay. And then like you would organize games or whatever, and they would be like, okay, well, at least she's organizing. I mean, you're the person who gets shit done. And I think this is symbolic, not necessarily of how you literally were as a child, and maybe you were. Take it out resonates. Somebody had to be, but I do think that, your inner child is trying to come out and play right now. And it's a little rough. Okay. Your inner child has possibly been caged up for so long. It's a bit of a beast. It doesn't know how to be a free spirit anymore. And so you could be feeling like there's a part of you that doesn't really know how to, just play or be with others in a way that is not hyper focused on productivity, isn't focused on the end result. And you may be looking at relationships, you may be looking at your work, you may be looking at everything you do in your day-to-day lifestyle, even the fun stuff, even the light stuff, even the playful stuff, and saying like, well, it needs to be done like this, or this needs to be the way it ends, or this has to be the result, or I need to feel this way after. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You're creating that. And the reality is you can't even create that anyways. It will go how it goes. However it's meant to go, it will go. And I think right now, what you're supposed to be learning how to do is let go a bit more. And I keep seeing the clock, but it's like one hand, the big hand is going this way, and the little hand is going this way. So it's like, okay, it's very Alice in Wonderland. I don't even know if that was a thing on Alice. I don't know where that's coming from, but it's very much about nothing being as it seems, and illusions being destroyed. This includes illusions about yourself. You may be going through a bit of an identity crisis at this time, or you're discovering just more about who you really are and what you really want. And it's requiring you be fluid, and playful, and let things unfold. Try to see the changes that are going to be happening in your life and that are going on now as something curious. An opportunity to have an experience instead of like, it must be this or else. Okay. And as soon as you do that, everyone will make it more fun too. The world will interact, okay, with you more productively. All right. Thank you, Deborah. Hunter, also, you have a couple loved ones coming through and giving a red rose. Lady, I believe there's also a gentleman with her. A red rose is a happy birthday or happy anniversary. This can also be a passing anniversary or just a deep love right around this time. Hunter Santiago is next. Hunter, what am I getting for you? Pen to paper. And then it's like pen to paper. And you're like, no, give me a pencil. Because I'm going to have to erase this. And like, I'm not sure. I'm not, do I want to sign? Do I not want to sign? It's like, let me see how my signature would look on this, like, let me just see. And then I could get a feeling from it, does it feel right or wrong with my signature on there? Like, what am I about to get into? The thing is, when I see you doing this, it starts with you being fairly oblivious. And you don't realize that you're supposed to have a pen. You're supposed to use ink on a contract. And like to make it legal, to be legit, to move things forward, for it to start, for it to be real, for it to happen, you have to use a pen. And there's an unwillingness here for you to commit. Okay. And I'm seeing this slightly to the right, which is your future. I'm feeling for the next 4 months, you'll be processing this, but even for the next like 2 to 4 weeks, some things will be coming up in regards to this. And ultimately, you are in your free will zone, which means I cannot give a 100% guarantee about what you're going to do about any of this, but you are going to be shown what it is that you need to commit to more. What it is, what areas, who, when, why, what, how, you need to invest and lock some stuff down. And I think this is all good because you're also tossing some stuff out, especially if you were spending time on like an old relationship. There's also talk of like a male in your life that maybe you've spent too much time either trying to work with or thinking about. You have some work obligations coming up here as well, where you're like, I hadn't really thought about it that way. Like what's on the chop block? Like what is not growing? Now, maybe it did. Maybe once upon a time, this was a great investment. This was supposed to be here at that time. Maybe it was. That doesn't mean forever. And so you're tweaking some things. This can also, given the nature of this one contract that I'm looking at, because a lot of these are verbal agreements between like you and other people, you and yourself, you and your habits, all of this, but some of these are concrete. One may be like a bank, a loan, something like this. The other one feels like you may be looking at an investment in your career. So training, education, research, certifications. This could also be just investing so much time into whether it be like a side hustle, your personal business, entrepreneurship, independent contracting, consultant work, that it is a massive investment. And I heard coming up daisies, coming up roses, coming up flowers. I don't know. I see all these flowers coming up. I don't know what the saying is. Coming up roses. But daisies, it's funny because coming up daisies, I don't even think that's a saying, but daisies are happiness. It's joy and it's simplicity as well. It's joy in the simple things. This is going to make you very happy, but it's a lot of work. It is. So you got some work cut out for you. But if you do it, and that's if, because it's in your free will zone, it will pay out beautifully. All right. Thank you, Hunter. Josie C. All right, Josie, what do I have coming up for you? Josie, what do we have for Josie? Are you like wearing two different size shoes? Two different shoes? One's a gym shoe, one's like a high heel. It's like, what is this? I think this is the equivalent of like, I wear many hats. It's reminding me of this girl who, oddly enough, and I haven't thought about her in years. This girl I used to hang out with when I lived in New York City. She said that all the time. And it's so weird this is coming up because I was literally just thinking of her. But she was running a little ragged, she was very like stripped thin. I mean, it was just like all over the place. She did so many things. And I would sometimes say to her, you're doing a lot, or like, let's just, kind of relax. Let's like sit down for a minute or whatever, and she would be like, well, I wear many hats. And it was like, yeah, but you're not, and I'm not saying this is your situation per se, but I just remember thinking, yeah, but you're not good at any of them because you're doing too much. Why are you doing so much? It was like she had something to prove. It was like she had something to keep up with the other women there, who were like just doing so much that they never rested. It was like busy, 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 busy. And that was supposed to be the equivalent of a prosperous life, but it wasn't. And I think that what's happening here is that you may feel like you're split, not necessarily from like your old life into your new life, but if that resonates, take it that way. But you're split between like what you need to be doing and how you have to do multiple things simultaneously. It can be very hard, to wear many hats and have to, I mean, that's hard enough in itself, but to have to wear them all at once. So you are finding that there are some parts of your life where it's like octopus arms. It's like I'm stretched over here and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I got eyes in the back of my head and I'm on this phone call. It's like too much. At some point, you may really want to stop and say, is this fulfilling for me? And when I sit down at night, in the few moments that you have, are you feeling like you're able to really process your day? Are you a participant in your life? Are you really present? Or are you just getting like dragged along on the bumper, and it's going like 80 miles an hour and you're like holding on for dear life? I mean, like, you seem okay with it. That's the thing. So was my friend. She was okay with it. I mean, she never stopped doing it, but I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? There's a point in time when you may have to force yourself to examine why you're doing certain things. And it's not because they're bad or you hate them necessarily, but is there a better way to spend your time? Is this bringing much back into your life? Is it really paying out, or is it just kind of stagnant energy? So you're just like a mouse on a wheel. You keep doing it. The other thing with the symbol of like a gym shoe on the left foot and a high heel on the right foot is like you're leaving the past behind, or you're wanting to anyways, the left foot, where you were a little bit more kind of rough and ragged, or a little tomboy, or you were kind of, sportsy, or you were running around and it was like, high energy into luxury, into class, into power, into rest, into being in her center, owning it. The queen on the throne with the sword at her side. Let it come to you. Stop chasing everything. This is too much. This is too much. If it pays out, I mean, that's great, but some of these things aren't. They're not. Okay, let's move on to another one. Thank you. We're on the last two. Okay, great. So we're on the last two, which means last call. If you did not drop your donation, go ahead and do so now. All right, Aquarius. Is this someone's real name? No. Deborah Rose. Oh, Deborah Rose is saying, right, because I read Deborah Rose. You're saying that you're an Aquarius sun. So yeah, you would want to check your moon and rising. I'm very curious, as well as your Mars. Where is your Mars? Even your Venus. I'd be very curious. Look at your chart. That's hilarious. But Aquarius will do that too. I love it. All right. That explains some things. So many games, so much in that leadership of the community, that Aquarius energy. Too funny. All right, let's move on to, I already did Josie C. Am I crazy? No, I did it. I've got it right here. See, this is why I keep this thing, because I will, I'll just keep reading. I'll just go on to something else, even though I already did it. Okay, Kelly Davis. Kelly Davis, I did not do. All right. All right, Kelly Davis. Kelly Davis, what am I getting for you? Kelly Davis. You seem to be the boss. You seem to be telling people what to do, telling things where to go, feeling like, I'm in charge. Maybe you're kind of 11:11 on the clock as I look at it. Maybe you are feeling like you're going places, or like you're kind of, I don't know if I want to say at the top of my game necessarily, but there are days when you feel pretty darn good about things. But there is this inner sense of disappointment or dis-ease, and almost like you're detached from your life in a way where you're like watching it from behind the scenes, and you could feel like you're watching, like through your eyes, your life play out, and you're just sort of a character in it. It's almost like a movie, but you're not feeling a lot. You're not feeling very connected to it. And it's almost like, yeah, there she goes. There she goes. Winning, there she goes. Working, there she goes. Running everything and leveling up. There she goes. Getting the bag. There she goes. Yay. And you're just not coming with that sense of fulfillment. And I think that is sometimes the hardest thing, because when things are good, it's hard to evolve beyond it. It's hard to make changes. And you can second guess yourself, like, why should I? Why would I? Or I don't want to rock the boat, or, well, I need to count my blessings. Well, I should be happy with what I have, or people have a lot less, or, all the things that we've been programmed to tell ourselves, so that we never move, so that we never change, so that we never grow, so that we stay the cog in the wheel and we feed the machine. Okay. All this programming has got you in a place where you are currently winning and feeling a bit like you're losing. And I think what you need to do is give more time and attention to that feeling. I just saw fulfillment. Okay. To that feeling of not tapping in to the potential to have more fulfillment. It's kind of funny how this is too, because you also have what feels like a lady coming through. I want to say mom's side of the family, maternal energy, may have gotten her hair quite short, as she got older, like kind of like a squeaky brown, or like a mousy brown, I think they call it. But she may have had very long hair in like, the 60s. But she comes through here anyways. And she's talking about, what were you saying? Oh, okay. It's like you don't want to admit that there's a need for more fulfillment. I'm not saying you have total lack of fulfillment, but you don't want to admit to the need for more fulfillment, because it looks like extra work. It may not pay out, and you're not entirely sure what kind of support you would get, and you're not really sure how to fit it in. It's like, I really just don't want to rock the boat in a lot of ways, but you're getting increasingly more curious. And the way she showed it was almost like a rainbow. It was like fulfillment, and the rainbow. Now, rainbow is pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Hopes and dreams coming true. It can also be, it was like God's promise biblically, for the hardship you've gone through never to happen again, or to remind you that you're safe in the future. It's the rainbow after the storm. So also any hardship you've been going through, I feel like an end to that cycle. And that may be part of the reason why too, that you don't really want to step out and look into this whole new journey of fulfillment, because if you went through some hardship, we can end up feeling a bit stuck after that. Like, we don't want any type of dis-ease coming in. But she loves you very much. Very, very interesting. Lots more to come for sure. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right. What is the next show that we have going on, Kim? Is it... I know if you guys want to become a member, I am running an Ask Ivy exclusive show only for my members. You get my undivided attention. tomorrow. So you get to ask a question and I give you a reading, but you would have to click, okay, here on my YouTube at Ask Ivy the Medium, hit the join button, become a member. You can join in that. I also have coming up on Saturday, test show. If it gets a lot of engagement from you guys, I will add it to my 2026 show lineup. It's called the Yes or No Question Show. So you can ask a question. I will tell you if it's a yes or a no answer. And that's going to be super fun. And then on Monday, the 5th, we have Coffee with Your Angels, another test show where I'm going to deliver whatever is the most important healing message for you to hear at this time. If you guys need to book a reading, a party, a psychic fair, or a healing with me, go to Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com. I do work internationally. It's a simple self-booking system. And thank you so much, Kim. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please do keep supporting, especially if I have lost TikTok, which is entirely possible. Thank you, Spirit. I will see you guys back here next time. Have a great night.